Huge one.
Hey guys, we're live with the Splittin Twigs crew and Tim Turk today. How's everybody doing today? We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Now, don't be afraid out there. Come and say hi. Come say hello to the beautiful crew that we got going on. We have Will and Chase. I'm going to be back in the producer studio again today. I'm Austin, hiding out being the tech guy. Once this intro is over, you'll see everybody here. Just come hang out.
When are you going to do another podcast?
Don't ask questions.
All right. Would you like to bring him in?
Do you want to say hi to everybody?
Oh, hey guys. How are you doing today? I really suck at this podcast, though.
You're killing me today. I want you to know that. We just went over this before.
So welcome everybody in. Today we're talking hockey. We're talking coaching. We're talking all aspects of the sport with Tim Turk. Tim is one of the most well-known coaches around the hockey community. He's been doing it for over 25 years, and I'm really excited to have him on and have this opportunity. So without further ado, Chase, I think it's time to welcome Tim into the show. How's it going, Tim?
Holy smokes, what an introduction there. Chaser's like, he's like the rookie of the year. He's like, holy. And I'm like, one of the things, I can't thank you guys enough for having me on. I've been going on live radio streams, podcasts, doing interviews. And one of the things is, what I like about this particular interview, let's call it, is that it's not scripted. Normally if I'm going to get, go on the radio or something, then the radio show or the podcast, people send me, okay, Turkey, here's the questions we're going to ask you, just so you're ready. And, I'm like, well, okay, that's great. Those are the same questions I get in the last 10 years. So, but you know what? But here, what's really cool is, like, number one, I'm looking at the title of the show, and I'm like going, how in the flying heck do they come up with Splittin Twigs? Like, that is sick. It's really, really cool. So who's going to tell me? I know you guys are supposed to be asking the questions, but Chaser, tell me how'd you come up with that?
So honestly, there were so many different names that we were trying to come up with. If we're being completely honest with you, no BS or anything, the reason that we came up with Splittin Twigs is because it was a name that wasn't taken.
Gotcha. Well, it's a good name though, I'll tell you, because as a shooting coach, I love to see twigs split. I love to see them busting out when they're taking a shot, not when they're smashing over someone's head. But so that's a really cool name, man. So I'll let you guys take over. We'll go from here because I'm looking forward to this non-scripted exchange of information.
I can say as a parent, I don't like when your twigs snap because that's out of my pocketbook
Hi, Chloe.
every time. Chloe says hello, and
Hi,
Nancy Donovan Clark watching from Indiana says, hey,
Hi,
Will
Nancy.
and Chase.
Well, that's not fair. Nancy's saying hi, Bill and Chase, and the guest doesn't even get a hello. What the fuck?
So Nancy is my stepmom, and actually I talked to her just a little while ago, and
Hey, Nance.
and she goes, every time I click like, but I don't think you guys can see them there. I said, no, you got to do it in the comments. So this is the first time she's actually got to say hi.
Right on.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited for this podcast because there's definitely a lot of things that I'm super excited to talk about.
So let's do a little bit about go ahead.
Open book, guys. I'm just a little worried that Will like Clarky, that logo you got on your chest, or you're gonna have a burn on your chest after you take that shirt off with that the Hawks logo.
And I'm a huge UND Fighting Sioux fan, and
I think she meant sick.
The Blackhawks were able to keep the logo. The UND Fighting Sioux obviously were not. They're still Fighting Sioux to my heart, so I don't mind wearing it for that reason.
Gotcha. Okay, then I'll support that too, because that's a pretty good reason.
Yeah, they have a hell of a hockey club up there in Grand Forks.
Oh yeah, you know what? I was in Grand Forks 2 years ago. I don't know. I can't think of the name of the person that brought me in there. I was working with the Grand Forks Minor Hockey Association, and they took me over to that stadium. And you know what I did? I ordered an order of fries. I ordered like a greasy burger, and then I put it right on the floor and ate it off the floor. That's how, like, that arena, that venue there, I was in awe. Like, I've been around the world and back, and what an awesome facility that is. Holy smokes.
Yeah, the Ralph Engelstad Arena. And there are so many logos throughout that arena. I'm sure you've seen that there. It's incredible. It is quite the arena and the venue to go see games in.
Absolutely. Hey, so Chaser, what's on your mind other than your hair?
I love this guy.
Wait till I was done drinking.
You almost made our producer spit out his drink all over our computers and stuff.
So what's on your mind, Jace?
Just a lot of like your coaching and how you kind of got into coaching.
You know, like when I was a youngster, right around your age, I used to be a shooter for a goalie coach. And there was two of us, me and a buddy. He kind of hired us way back when there were no puck shooting machines, and we're talking 35 plus years ago. And what we did was we kind of rotated. I'd go for half an hour, and then we would switch up, and my buddy would go for half an hour, and we'd alternate pretty much all day, every day after school, right through 7 days a week. And we did that for a couple of years. And then one day, this goalie coach, who was very energetic, great delivery, technical type of teacher, like not just a coach, but a teacher. And he came to us and he said, you know, you guys have been doing this for me for 2 years. You know what you should do is open up a shooting school. And at the time we looked at each other, we're like, no, screw that. You know, we knew nothing about business. We were making at that time, way back then in Canada here, $10 a half hour cash. So every other half hour, we're making $20 each. And that's like back then was really good. That's good salary to work at as a 15, 16, 17-year-old. So a couple of months goes by and he's like, you know what? You guys are so good. How about I do this? How about I open up a shooting school and I'll open it up? And we're like, well, what do you know about shooting? You know, you're a goalie coach. Well, you guys are going to teach the shooting, and here's what I'll do. Well, one of you is teaching a half-hour shooting session. The other one can be shooting, and then you guys can flip over, and I'll give you $10 a half hour cash like I am now. So we're thinking, wait a minute. So now we're going from $10 every other half hour to $10 every half hour. So we're like looking at each other going, well, how are you going to get people in here? He goes, hey guys, well, I got this. Every goalie knows at least 2 players. So he puts a sign on the wall, and the sign says, any parent that brings in a shooting, like a player to try our player school or shooting school, gets a free session. So he handed out free sessions if they brought in an actual person that signed up for a shooting session. And that's how we started it. And all of a sudden, you know, like we taught like he taught, high energy, and we were trying to find technical things and being as surgical as possible. He's like, now you got to look at the motion patterns. You got to be technical. You can't just say shoot harder or, you know, add more strength. You got to have a technical term or like some sort of verbiage that these young players could understand and they could apply. So that's how it started. And then all of a sudden, man, we were doing 100 classes a week. We were shooting, and then finally we're like, hey, you know, we look at each other. We're like, we can do this. we can do this on our own. So we went to the goalie coach and said, he goes, I knew it was coming. He says, you know what? Puck machines are being built now anyways. I can use a puck machine. Guys, go out and all the best to you. All the best. Go on, take on the shooting world. And that's what we did. The guy that was my buddy, he went one way, I went the other way, and here I am. And he's still around somewhere. But you know, I learned a lot from him, and God bless what we're at. But here I am now, and I've elevated myself to the NHL level after 25 years. So it's pretty cool. I'm the most blessed person you're ever going to meet, guys.
That's crazy. That's quite a story. You know, the local rinks are honestly where everybody starts, even these young kids, you know, and this is kind of where you're at in your young journey, as you're starting off at the local rinks and working your way up. Yeah.
So my biggest question for you is, so you were saying that you started like that 30 years ago. So the technology back then, I mean, you guys were still using wooden sticks, right? And now to the technology we have now with the like pure carbon fiber sticks. How did you have to translate different techniques with the new technology coming out?
You know what, Chase, you get a new car. That's the question of the year right there. That's awesome. You know, good point. Like one of the things that the evolution of the hockey stick and you know, the techniques haven't changed, but you can always enhance something. You can modify something. You can make it a little bit stronger, make it a little bit more durable. But when it comes to the way it's manually used technically with motion patterns, each different player and each different individual or athlete has their own way of doing something. So even if all three of us took a wrist shot, it might look similar because we're taking a wrist shot, but we all do it differently because we're like fingerprints. Individuals like fingerprints, we have our own way of doing things. So with that being said, a wooden stick in the old days, what's really cool, I've been doing some research over the years, and when you impact or when you take a slap shot with a piece of wood versus a puck density, you get more energy out of that than you would out of carbon fiber. But after that one impact or two impacts, that wooden energy dissipates. It gets fatigued, it tires right away. The carbon fiber doesn't get tired as quick. It lasts a lot longer. So if I could use a stick every shift, I would make it a wood one, because every time I shot the puck, I get the most energy out of it when I'm taking a shot. But obviously, there's so much criteria that goes into these financial situations where companies want these things to last a little longer and they want to charge a little bit more. So that's what it's evolved to, from graphite to composites and stuff like that. But that's a great question. So, wood evolving to aluminum, evolving to graphite, to carbon fiber, to nanotechnology, now to so many different kinds of manufactured processes that companies are doing what they can to stay in the market as long as possible.
Oh yeah, even sticks like maybe 2-3. You hear that? Go ahead.
I didn't hear anything.
You-
Good.
No, it's staticky.
It's okay. Keep going.
Are you guys in a bomb shelter?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So like you look at the sticks from even like 2 years ago, and they're so heavy compared to some of the sticks that we have now. They're like 400, 500 grams, which doesn't sound a lot because it's really not that heavy. But like when you're using like 300, high 200s, it sounds, or it's just crazy, like moving from.
Yeah, and think of this. You know what? That's a good point too, Chaser. And one of the things is, so the lighter something is that's in your hands that you need to project something, like for instance, shoot a puck, in our case, the lighter it is, the faster you can move it in a shorter distance. So the heavier it is, the harder it is to move it quick in a short distance, because you got to gain momentum with it. So good point on, that's why these stick companies they're trying to lighten up the loads of them so that they can obviously lead the marketplace and try and get the lightest stick, most durable stick that's out there. And the company that I feel that I'm powered by, I feel is the best one right now as far as performance is concerned, and durability is you can see it behind me here. I'm powered by, and when they say powered by, it's like sponsored, but they want you to say powered by because it's a good word to use. The True Hockey brand and product is unbelievable, and I've tried them all. Over all the years, man. There isn't a stick that you can't tell me that I haven't tried where someone's sending me to do testing to get information back to them on how it works and stuff like that. And the True Hockey product, to me, I guess I can say it sounds biased because they're a sponsor, but to me, I'm going to use what's the best out there. And then usually, yeah.
I've been looking at making the switch to True for a while. Actually, the new Project X stick is the one I've been looking at. The only reason that I haven't started begging my parents for it is because my biggest thing is I use a P28 curve, and I don't know the transfer between curves because I just started hockey about 2 years ago in May. And so I don't really know all the different types of curves and stuff. So if I were to go, it's going to be weird trying to figure out which one is most similar to the people.
Well, you're talking to someone that can help when you're ready.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Tim,
for sure.
From Chloe Lewis, she's up there in Canada too. She says, "Do you think the Nexus 5-sided sticks make a difference compared to the 4-sided?" We had this debate yesterday with our guest.
Yeah.
Chase likes the 4-sided. Me and the guest yesterday like the 5-sided. But what are your thoughts, Tim? We'll answer that
Chloe
for
likes
Chloe.
it too.
So yeah, see, that's a great question by Chloe. One of the things when it comes to sticks, to me, it's like a individual customization of what feels best for you. So, my preference, whenever you remember when the Bauer came out with that hole in the blade, big huge stick, the hole in the blade there?
I
And it's funny when I saw that. I mean, I had an idea years and years ago. I went through CCM Reebok where there was called the O stick, the hole. So I came up with an idea that if you put holes in the shaft, then it's less resistant, so you can kind of swing it faster, so to speak, if you put holes in the shaft. And when you arc something, when you create an arc, that creates strength when there's arcing. So think of an oval hole, and where the oval is, or the parts of the radius of the oval, that's where the strength is. So they did that with the blade and trying to create strength, but what they forgot was the puck's got to travel across the blade all over it when you're shooting and controlling, and if you're doing redirects and tipping it in. So to answer the question, 5-sided versus 4-sided, it's all about personal feel, and we want that personal feel to be as natural as possible. When the natural motion pattern takes over, kind of like when you're controlling or you're shooting a puck and you see it spin tight through the air, you don't have to force it to spin. Sometimes you take a shot, there's a little wobble because your timing messed up or the puck left the blade at a different position or a different place. But whenever you get a consistent tight spin and you feel it like it's in your hands and it feels good, it's not like a really square type of one, it's more rectangular. So there's so many different options, and that's why it's important for me to ensure that all the shooters out there get something that's right for them, that's an extension of their body. So great question, Chloe. It's just a personal preference. There's no better way, but you know what? To me, when they do all this stuff, guys, when they're making all these changes and they put it into the market, there's this word that comes to mind, and I'm like I said, I'm coy. I tell people what I feel they need to hear, not what they want to hear, but it's all gimmicky. These are gimmicky things. When someone says there's a power zone in the stick right here, get this stick, you're going to power zone here. And I'm like, oh my God. The only way it gets powered is by your hands. It doesn't get powered by anything in the actual product itself.
Really good point.
So it just depends. It depends on like those flex points and kick points and all that kind of stuff. Mid kick, top kick, high kick, low kick. It can't be kicked unless you shoot the damn thing. And depending on where, so think of this though. Here's a stick right here. Look at this one. So I got a stick right here like this. So if I put my bottom hand in a wrist shot situation and I want to stick the kick, that's where it bends from, where my bottom hand goes. You see that? So the lower my hand is to the actual ice or the bottom of the shaft, the quicker it flexes. See that action versus that action? So if my hand's way up there, the kick point's at the shaft, and if it's really low, it kicks really quick. You see that? So it's important that the position of your bottom hand, I call it the power hand, that dictates where the kick point is.
Wow, that makes so much more sense, because I can't tell you how many times, like if I take a shot at a weird angle, that I either put my hand too low or too high and I mess up my shot really bad. But then when you get it in that perfect position, it just feels amazing. And I definitely see where you're coming from. Like I used the Nexus for a while, and the Nexus felt really good, but my shot was very butterfly and kind of like you said, like it was wobbling a lot. And then I started using my ultrasonic a lot more, and I think the only time I ever butterflied is when I release it wrong on accident or something, kind of like you were saying. But I have a consistent, perfect spin on it. So
that's good. Then that means you're using the correct pattern, the correct flex, and the correct lie. Those when you mix those three and combine them into one, that's right for you. Then that's when you get that consistency of execution better. You can feel when it's good when your hand's in the right position, and you can feel when it's not. If you're forced through someone checking you, a stress level or pressure, you get pressured, and then all of a sudden you got to do something quick, and it's not the result you want. But you still got it off, but it's not the perfect result, and it didn't feel right, but if you got the time, and that's the whole thing, is being able to, when you work on skills, you want to try and get the same feeling without pressure than when you have stress or pressure, no matter how much time you have. If you can mimic that feel and have that consistency that you like that good feeling, no matter what kind of pressure you're under, then that's when you start to make, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, $5 million per year. Those guys are just so consistent.
Then you start paying me back for those sticks you break. We got a question from Ilya here. He's skate sharp up in New York. Tim, do you prefer longer or shorter sticks based on the position that the player plays?
Man, you know what? That's a great question. So when I stand on the ice, and I put my stick up to me, my stick is right here. It's like when I'm standing on the ice.
Oh, wow.
So what position do you think I play?
Defense?
Wrong.
I don't think you play position. I think you know how to shoot based off of what I know about you.
Clarky. So that's the whole point is when like I have a rule of thumb, a particular rule of thumb of where I feel it's best suited for all players, like a little kind of generic kind of thing.
Mhm.
When you have your skates on, I like minimum, I like it at the bottom lip.
Okay.
And then kind of like you want to stretch it up to just above the bridge of the nose, somewhere in between there as a rule of thumb. But then we'll think of, well, Chaser, how old are you?
15.
You're 15. So you got two years, maybe 3, depending on how much yoga you do, to grow a little bit, right? So what happens is in a whole season when players are using their sticks, especially the younger kids in between, let's say U11 to U14, when the growth patterns are a little bit quicker than normal. So then all of a sudden, I'll be working with a kid at the beginning of season, and then towards the end, 2 or 3 months later, they'll come and see me. Their stick was at their lip, now it's at their chin. I'm like, what the fuck happened to your stick? What happened? What do you mean? It's the same one. First of all, I'm like, how do you keep the same stick in 2 months? You got to slash somebody. Anyway, I'm kidding. But so what we have to be cognizant of and aware of is that our stick needs to grow with us. So sometimes we kind of forget because we're in the meat of the thick end of the season, and the meat and potatoes part of things is just so good, it tastes great that you don't want to change something. But your stick's getting shorter because you're growing, so we got to get that stick to grow with you. So my rule of thumb with the skates on is bottom lip to bridge of the nose, but it's a personal thing. If it goes a little shorter because you feel like you have more control, but to your point, Will, it's so important that you need to make your stick best for your shot.
Mm-hmm.
The best shot result, whether you're an impact shooter, a quick release shooter, and it takes time, or you're a less time shooter, but make sure that it's best for your shot. And then passing and shooting virtually identical technique unless you're saucing it. But you know what I mean? So then worry about the control. Make sure your shot's really good and consistent. Like you said, Chaser, you got that good feel when your hand's consistent in that spot. And then you can work on puck control. You shouldn't overhandle a puck anyways, in my opinion. You can handle it. And then when you need to reach, if you're a dissecting type of player that likes to create more opportunities, and then worry about that stuff for the reach and the control after you've kind of like got a consistency with your shot release.
That makes a lot of sense now that you're saying that. So
You got a lot to think about tonight. So Chase, last August, Chase had a leg injury. He broke his tibia and fibula pretty clean, and he
Did it hurt?
no, it felt good.
I didn't feel a thing.
Yeah, it was fine. No, it hurt really, really bad.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Clarky. Sorry.
No, you're
No,
good.
you're
You're
fine,
good.
man.
But so it was called Goats League. It's kind of like a summer thing, kind of let the kids stay on the ice, keep their skills sharp, but kind of it's a little bit more relaxed league. Well, that was the last game he's played in that league. Well, tonight he's rejoining that league, and he's got his first game tonight. So it sounds like you're gonna have a lot to experiment with in warmups out there.
Oh yeah.
So what percentage are you at with your recovery? Are you at 100%, you feel, or?
So skating wise, yes. Do I still, or sorry, my hand kind of covered up the mic. Do I still feel pain and stuff when I'm doing certain things? Yes, but skating wise, I'm better than I was before.
Right, that's good. So I think that pain you're feeling is probably muscular. You know what I mean? Because you still have to rebuild and restore things in there. But if it means anything coming from a guy that you just met, like I've been dealing with stuff like this for years and years and years, and whether it was a minor injury, yours would be considered to be a major injury. But in the back of your mind, it's hard to get that stuff out of there. Even if you feel like you're ready to go, still the back of your mind's going to have something that's in there. So try and see if you can block that out. And like I would try and go through your preparation processes or however you get ready for a game, no matter what level you're playing, and try and clear your mind and go to have fun. If you don't have the fun factor in there, then it's not the right reasons you're playing.
That's exactly what Rosie told you yesterday.
Yeah,
It's like
that's
these guys know what they're talking about. Yeah, Ilya says thanks for the insight. He does appreciate that advice you just gave him about asking about the shorter and longer sticks.
Oh, you betcha.
But I do got a question on that now because with Chase growing and everything, and he's close to 6 foot now. Plugging sticks, putting that extension plug in the end, does that really have any impact on performance? Is that going to change his game at all, or is that a legitimate? Hey, this gives the stick a little bit longer lifetime.
So technically, when you're plugging a stick, to me, usually 90% of the time, someone will put a wooden plug into a composite stick. And what that does for me technically is that changes the configuration of it. So if you can kind of complete that extension with the same material, then that feel will remain consistent. That top hand that goes, I call it the grip hand. The top hand that goes on your stick, that's what controls the actual stick and the puck more so than anything. If you ever take a hand off your stick, you ain't taking the top one off.
No.
It's the bottom. And when that top one actually comes off, you're like, oh shit, I got to get it back on there. Someone tugs your hand off, you're like, get it. If someone messes with your top hand or that arm of your top hand, and they keep doing that, it frustrates you because that's what your sense of control comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So when you change the material, if you go from composite to wood, it's changing the feel a little bit. That vibration that's going in there, like there's a consistent vibration going up to, then it's like, there's wood here? What the hell is this? And but it can help. The extension can help, but my suggestion is when I'm going to use the word change right now. I'm trying to get that out of my vocabulary because when players hear you say you need to change this, it's kind of like psychologically it messes a little bit more than what they think. Yeah, but if you say fine tune or modify a little bit, you should do it in small increments. So if your stick's here, Chaser, at your chin, and you're like, well, Turkey says I need to have it here, which is like 1.5 inches, I wouldn't suggest going it up 1.5 inches right away because you're so used to using that stick at your chin. If you want to extend it a little bit more, go 1/8 of an inch.
Dude, that is so true because I have 2 sticks. They're probably about that, if you can see, like that much in a different height. And every time I go in between using them, I can tell the difference between the height instantaneous. And it's maybe even like 1/4 of an inch.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So that's why small increments over certain period, like a checklist period of time where you get that comfort, natural feeling back, then you can add it more. There's a player, have you ever heard of a player named PK Subban?
Yes.
Oh, we were just talking about him the other day.
So when I met him out of juniors, probably before his draft year, his stick was like mid-chest playing in the OHL up here.
What? Wait.
It was right here as a D-man. That's where it was when he was playing juniors. Now, fast forward 13 years, and now his stick is taller than mine. So in a 13-year period, he's been kind of like modifying it every year up and down. And then his 5-on-5 stick is a little bit shorter than his power play stick. So he changes that, and he's got the ability to do so. But his 5-on-5 stick's the one he uses the most, and he's up at probably close to 14, 15 inches over a 13-year period. And then he'd get to a point where he wants to add more, and he's like, oh, I can't. Got to bring it back down. But he keeps trying. He wants to. And that's the thing about being players is experimenting, guys. Experiment with things that you might get a better feel for. Or if someone's made a suggestion like myself, Coach Turkey suggested I add a 1/4 inch on my stick, or I change my lie a bit, or I lower my flex, and I'm just going to give it a shot. I'm going to try it. So if there's a trust factor there, then you're going to, even though you're uncomfortable, you'll do it more to be able to adapt to it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about changing my stick because I do really, really love this stick, but I've broken one already because I use such a low flex and I'm getting a lot bigger. Like I weigh 140 something pounds, but my stick is a 65 flex, so I kind of got to move up in the flex and stuff and go to like a 70, a 75.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's so remember I talked about the kit points on a stick, and you know how a stick company will say, well, our Nexus model's a mid kick and our other model's a low kick or whatever. And I'm like saying, I call bullshit, because it depends on where your hand goes to create the kick, depending on the feel you get from it. So for me, it's the same with flex. There's this thing out there where it's like a rule of thumb where, okay, so hang on a second here. I'm a quarter ton. No, I'm not. I'm an eighth of a ton. I'm an eighth of a ton. I'm 250 pounds. So that means I should, based on this criteria that's out there, what stick flex should I use? Half my body weight, they say, right? So I should be using a 125 flex. That's like shooting a puck with a 2x4, fellas. Like I use an 81 flex at 250, and in all my years of doing stick fittings with, once players have matured, meaning they don't grow anymore, like you've become an actual adult, and I've never ever, in all my time fitting sticks with players, I've never increased the flex on a player's stick. I've always decreased it.
Really?
Never ever. So like, make sure it's a feel thing. Don't worry about your strength output. It's all technical. So if you're snapping sticks in the actual shaft when you're shooting, or low hosel, like not breaking the blade, but I'm talking, if you're snapping the stick kind of like anywhere in this area here, like that, and it's happening every time, but if it lasts a month and then it snaps, you're in a good flex. You're in a really good, because when you pull one out of the package chaser and you use it, it's got some pop to it, and then it starts to get a little fatigued, and then all of a sudden it's like where you want it. You get it where you want it, and then it breaks on you. So to me, that's a good stick. You can just keep breaking them, as long as you're breaking them when you're taking shots, or if you're going to change the flex on it, don't go from a 65 to a 75, go from a 65 to a 67. You get what I mean? Like those low increments, something like that.
Do they have a 67 flex stick?
I don't know in retail what they have now. I haven't been in retail for quite some time now, but I know custom, you can get whatever you want, or whatever Coach Turkey asked for.
Yeah, I guess if this caliber is telling me what to get you, I can't really argue with him. He's like,
yeah, but small increments though, guys. Like go up, and if the incremental increase or progression is by 5s, then just go up 5 and try it out. Go for a test drive. And that's where.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that's where parents got to sacrifice things to help out.
Definitely. And to the comments here real quick, Dylan Schuer, he's we had him on a couple, I think last week he was on the show, but he's on Chase's team tonight, actually, on this team they're playing together. And to anybody that's watching, if you have any questions for Coach, I mean, feel free to chime in, and he's more than welcome to answer them. So if you got questions about your sticks, I mean, you got the expert right in front of us, so feel free to ask.
Absolutely, man. Wide open.
So what do you think, in your personal opinion, you said you really like True. Which one do you think's the best True stick?
Well, I gotta be careful with what I'm talking, because True brought me on board to help out with the engineering processes and give all kinds of reports on how the stick manually is being used, and overriding all that automation stuff. Like automated tests give certain data or data criteria on when it breaks or how it flexes different ways and all that kind of stuff. So I have the next 2 models that they're thinking about putting out, and I can say the Project X right now, after trying the A series, the C series, and all the series, and I mean, I haven't had a chance to really, because we're shut down, and I'm 1 month in to my actual position with True Hockey and how it works. But the Project X, oh my God. I feel like, like I had the radar gun out, and we were on an ODR rink, because, we couldn't be inside. So on an ODR rink, you know what that surface is like, Chaser. It's like a piece of poo. And but you put up with it though. You put up with it. And I had, so my wrister release, when I'm warmed up and I've had time to really gain tension and stuff like that, and I'm not going to fall apart or pull a muscle, I could do like a 74 to 75 mile an hour wrister. And when I, so this Project X, it came off at 76.
The fastest wrist shot I've ever taken was we had a radar out at stick time a little while ago, and the fastest I got was 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. And hand speed dictates puck speed, but that's when that we talk about having your hand in a certain position on the shaft to get that perfect feel. You could probably elevate that with different technical like motion patterns, maybe more downward pressure or so, but I'm sure that could be progressed on for sure. But it's really, to answer your question, to me, like the best feeling stick that I've had in my hands in the past 25 years is the Project X. But they sent me these other ones here that I felt too. I can't wait to take them for a test drive to see what they're like.
So is the Project X out, or is that
Yeah,
one that's in development that you're talking
No,
about?
It's out.
Scratch.
Yeah, it just got released. That just got released recently
Yeah.
into retail, the Project X.
The only reason I even know about them is because, do you know who Pavel Barber is?
Yeah, that guy's got better hands than a snake.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
explain that a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta explain.
What about that? Well, you know what? If there's anyone that could chop a puck in half and keep control of both halves at the same time, it would be him. He's like that guy's. And the one thing about Barbs is that not only can he like handle the puck like that with complete control, he can somewhat teach it. He can help others to do that. You know what I mean? Where there's, I get kind of frustrated when I see these stick trick guys and puck, like they throw the puck up and they spin their stick spinning around and then they grab it and they catch the puck and they're doing this. But if you watch them when they do it, they got one hand here and one hand here.
Mm-hmm.
Catching it with their hand. It's like here, it's like they choke up so deep on their stick they can do any trick they want. If you can do those tricks holding a stick like you're going to shoot a puck, then come talk to me. If there's anyone out there that can do that, and anyone that's listening who's a stick trick artist or whatever, if you can catch a puck, after throwing it 60 feet in the air, spinning your stick around, but holding onto the butt end of your stick and having your hands in those positions, then I'd like to see that. Then I'll give you a coconut chocolate bar.
All right, I guess you're working on that for a candy bar. Hey, Tim, you can solve a debate that me and Chase have had since the beginning of him skating and the beginning of him playing hockey. And his mom is in on this debate as well. Taping the blade.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What is the differences in taping the blade? I knew you were going to say that. I tape my whole blade. He tapes literally about that much of the tip of it. Tim, what is the point, and is he doing it right?
But wait.
Hang on. Remember. Hang on a second, Chaser. You're not allowed to talk yet. Hang on. I know you're probably going to have every excuse in the book here, but check this out. So here's the shooting coaches. This is the rule of thumb. This is something that is kind of, I would say, important. However, like I said, that extension of your body is a personal thing. If it doesn't feel right, it's not going to perform right. So anything you do to your stick, however, the way you do your butt end, the way you tape your stick is completely up to you. However, think of this. So here's a biscuit and it goes on the blade. So you see, I'm putting it on where there's no tape. So there's no tape on there. So would you agree or disagree that where there's no tape, it feels different than where there's tape if you ran your finger on it?
Yes.
It feels different. There's more of a slippery kind of feel depending on what kind of blade you have. You might have a sandpaper grit, or so everyone has different things. So what happens is when a puck is shot, no matter how much blade it takes to run off the blade to take the shot, usually what happens is there's a spin action that's going on. You're starting to create spin. So the puck will usually start from closer to the heel, depending on what type of release you take, and work its way to the toe. So think of this. If I start the puck where there's no tape and I'm releasing it, and then all of a sudden it catches on the tape, well, the puck looks at the tape and says, "What the fuck are you doing here?" I started without that feel. Now all of a sudden it's like, okay, I get it. Oh, maybe I like this. I like that there's a little bit of traction from the edge of the puck. There's a grit diamond edge on the puck if you look close, right? and then it catches the tape. There's a little bit more traction there. So some players that even just tape the middle, but this is a personal thing. If you're getting tight spin off your shot, because the puck should always leave off the toe anyways, below the midway point of the blade. It should be down here when it releases. And that's the action at the end of your shot where you're getting that little wrist snap action that helps the puck to spin. That's where the spin is created from. So you're shooting, and then as the puck leaves your blade, there's a little action where it kind of goes forward. If it's going this way, your wrist snap. That's your wrist action to get the puck to spin off. So it kind of looks like this. I'll show you. It kind of looks like this. So here's your blade, here's the puck. The puck starts on the blade, and as it starts to travel, it starts to spin. You see it spinning there, right? But if you don't point the toe, to create the spin, then that's when the puck wobbles. If it just stays like that, if you don't point the toe.
Dude, that makes so much sense.
So, there's so much that you can do. Like what happens is, the other thing that I should explain to you guys is this. Do you use white tape or black tape?
White.
You use white. So I bet you after you've used your stick, you can see like there's like a line going through where where all the puck marks are. And it's usually like the halfway, because that's the height of the puck. So usually what happens is, I don't know if you can see it in there, but you see how the puck is not flat on the blade?
Mhm.
It's just like on an edge.
Yep.
Yeah.
The puck is never flat. It's never flat on the blade unless you impact it in a one-timer or a clapper. It's always, guys, it's always like on its edge. So when you go to take that shot, the puck goes up on its edge, and then it spins off of the blade like that. Like that. So to answer your question, the more tape that's on there, it's kind of like the puck feels things too. There's relationships between the puck and the blade and the ice, the puck and the ice, and all these relationships got to come together. That's right for you, for your curve. Like you have a pocket in your curve. You guys can see, this is my particular own pattern, and you can see that there's a pocket area where it just starts to curve from the heel and the toe in there. So that's the pocket area. The sweet spot is where that is. And usually that's where the puck normally starts when you're doing a quick release shot. So you need to create spin. And the way to do it is have a consistent feel for the puck on the blade.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I used to take my stick all the way, and then I've just been going lower and lower. The reason why mine's so low right now is just because I was too lazy to tape it any farther. But typically I tape it like 1/4 of the way.
Okay, please don't lie to Coach.
I will show you.
We're live. Just remember this.
I know.
you know what, Coach? So check this out. I'm a shooting coach, right? For me, no matter what the actual action is or what the theme is of my sessions when we're doing our trainings, I always take 3 sticks with me. I always have 3, because I never know when one might, God forbid, but they break a lot. I go through a lot of sticks. I go through like 12 dozen a year. And so I bring 3 with me every time I go somewhere. So if I have 3 sessions, I rotate those 3 sticks. And if I go the next day and I have 3 sessions, I retape them all. If I have 1 session and I go the next day and have 3, I retape all my sticks, whether I've used them or not. That's just one of my personal habits that I have. I retape my stick every single day fresh. So I have it. And I won't use, even if I used it just to pass 10 passes, I can reuse that tape again. But for whatever reason, personally, I feel like I need to retape it. So it's a fresh start. So that's just me. Some players do that too. And others are like, I want the old tape. I scored 2 goals. I want that old tape on there until it rots. You know what I mean? I'm using that stick until it just doesn't have any, or if I feel like it's not working for me, in the fireplace it goes, new stick, new tape, so everyone's different. It's all a personal thing.
I use my stick until I use white tape, and I use my tape until it looks like black tape. I swear, like the top of my stick, I haven't retaped it in probably 5 or 6 months. It looks like black tape, and the bottom of it, I think I retaped it like 2 or 3 days ago, actually.
Well, it was probably due.
Yeah, we have another question for you. What's your opinion on how Matthew shoots?
Yeah, number 34 in Toronto. So that guy, He's got a lot. He's a way above average shot release player when it comes to the actual releases and styles and timing. So I have this foundational kind of formation that I ask players to get into, and I call it the stride shot. So are you a righty or a lefty chaser?
I'm a righty.
You're a righty, so you shoot good. That's good. I'm a righty too. So if you're a righty, so I guess your dad's a lefty. So every time he shoots, he shoots left. Every time we shoot, we shoot straight, right?
You backhand every shot.
Yeah. So if you're releasing a puck, the foundation that I try and get you to get into, or the players, over so much and many years of research and how the success is created in the foundational, like the body formation is sometimes more important than the actual release itself. Being, like what your body does before you shoot, during your shot, and after the shot is kind of critical to the result of the actual shot, or the reaction time afterwards. So picture this: you're a righty, you go to release a puck, and I'm asking you to get your right leg to go back. So it's kind of like you're taking a skating stride as you're taking your release. You're pushing with your right leg, like you're taking a skating stride, and then you're releasing all at the same time. Lefties, it's left leg back. That's called the stride formation release. So Matthews, what he does is he messes with the actual timing of getting into that formation. I wish I could share my screen. I got a few pictures of him and a few things that I've broken down. But
yep, right on the bottom there should be a share button that will share your screen.
You think I can share this thing?
Yep, absolutely.
Share screen, but okay.
That guy's telling me absolutely.
Easiest with two monitors. Okay, so I'm going to click share. Okay, can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Hold on. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Tim's having difficulties, guys. Please stand by.
Did he dip?
Yeah.
Quick, go on with the show, Chase. Do a dance.
Okay, guys.
We're gonna wait for Tim to come right back on.
Tim, hello.
Oh, he's back. He's back. All right.
Can you hear us?
All right, that was my fault.
Okay, he's back.
Hang on. We got it. Does that mean did that screw up the show?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Good. You didn't go.
Okay, let me try this again. Hang on. Let me try it one more time. So it says share screen. Share screen. I X'd off on the wrong thing here. So let me click on. I'll use audio too. Whatever. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah, for some reason it's not. Oh, okay. Hang on. We might be there. Let me know if you can see my screen or not.
Oh, yes.
Yep. Okay, hold on. So we're gonna.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna try and do. You guys are gonna have to help. Okay, so you know what? I can't X off of that, but how do I minimize it?
I'm gonna unmute Eakin's mic here. Austin, you want to help him out? Walk him through this.
Okay, hang on. Can you see?
He's doing.
Can you see my desktop?
Yes,
absolutely. It's almost the entire show. There we go. Perfect.
Okay, so that formation there, Chaser, is what I'm talking about. See how his left leg is back?
Yeah.
Like that. So normally what happens is when you take a shot release, I've always been of the belief that when you synchronize or you chain react, so everything happens all like a bomb goes off all at once. It's like bang. And that's probably the most effective way to deceive a goalie is by doing everything in synchronization. But what Matthews does is he'll go down with built up momentum, then he'll drop that leg back while he's gliding towards the target with the puck in a great prepared position. It might be a little outside his body, but then he'll drag it in. And so he's already in that stride formation and he's paused there for maybe a full second. So everyone's like, well, when are you going to shoot it? And go, oh, you already shot it. So it's like it raises anticipation levels when you mess with the timing. And that's why I like Matthews. Matthews he changes his timing, and you can see this elbow here, his right elbow, because he's a lefty. Whenever you see a player's elbows elevated prior to a shot, they're going to get a good shot off. And that's something that you guys can visualize whenever players are shooting. And look at that top grip hand elbow. If it's elevated, that creates range of motion. And that range of motion is what can actually help you with that. Are you there?
Yeah, we're still here. We just kind of
how do I find you guys now? I can't. There we go. Okay, hang on. I'm back.
All right, I think we got you back.
See, 2 years ago, I would have been able to do that, even though I effed up and cut you guys off.
No,
wake up, Chaser. Chaser, wake up, buddy. Wake up. You got a game tonight, man. You got a game.
Chase, how are you yawning during this?
I woke up at 5:45 a.m.
You know what that sounds like? A personal
Well,
problem.
are you hunting for worms or what? What are you doing?
Yeah,
So that's my answer. Sorry, guys. That's my answer on Matthews. Matthews is just he's so creative when it comes to changing his timing when he does that formation. But that particular formation since 2003, that formation, when a player shoots on all initial shots in that stride formation, it produces 70+% of all initial shot goals at the NHL level since 2003. So that's why I teach that as a foundation. Not the only way to shoot, but that sets posture levels. It helps your spine angles to be good. Your alignment is, when you can see in that picture of Matthews, his alignment was straight at the target. He wasn't leaning over. Everything was upright. So that's the reason for that.
Where his eyes were in that shot.
Yes. And we also have another question for you from Dylan again. He said, what makes the I can never say
Caulfield.
Yeah, shot unstoppable?
Cole Caulfield. Yeah, he's a Habs product, that guy. And so think of this. If I were to say the word compact, what kind of definition would you give me for something that's compact? I'm talking to you, Chaser. You got to answer. Don't ask your dad. Your dad knows the answer. So if you were to compact something like a snowball, what are you doing to it? What are you making it?
Squishing it and making it tighter?
Yeah, you make it tighter. You make it tighter.
Tighter.
Yeah. So good answer. He's like, oh shit, I don't want to F up. People are listening. So
I'm being
so you start off with this much snow, and then when you're done your snowball, you made it tighter and what? Smaller, yeah. So that's the thing about Caulfield. His release is compact and condensed. So it's like a short area that he's using to shoot the puck. So for instance, normally what happens when players shoot commonly, they'll take the puck, it'll be like right here. It'll be here, blade will be over, and then it'll travel, let's say 2 to 2.5 feet, and then it takes off. So commonly, a release is between 2 to 2.5 feet if it's not overloaded. Overloaded means behind the body. You've probably seen players take the puck behind, hands will cross over, and then they'll take your shot. So when he does it in 6 inches.
Wow.
So it's kind of 6 to 8 inches. So I say,
I like that.
He's got an elevated elbow. So the one thing that he does really well is when you elevate your elbow, it creates a lot of range, right?
Right.
But you don't have to use that full range. You just got to use a little bit of it. So he condenses and compacts his release, activates his wrists a lot, and pushes the puck about 6 inches as opposed to this long. So it's super difficult for goalies to read how quick it's coming off his blade. So if you did this, think of this. So here's the puck. If you just activated your wrists without a push, you're not pushing the puck, you're just activating your wrists, you can still shoot it. You can still take a shot. So that is what I call less load, more explode versus overloading and less exploding. So you want to try and condense your release as much as possible by working on wrist activation, puck position, preparation, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah, I've actually experimented with the not loading the puck and just snapping it, just in case I ever had to or whatever.
Well, you're playing hockey, you're going to have to.
Yeah.
You want to get good and get those goalies off their game, you're going to have to change it up a little bit once in a while.
Yeah, that's what I do. I shoot a lot of different ways. Like I can do the one-legged shot or whatever where you stand up on your because I'm a righty, I would stand on my right leg and then take the shot. And then I can do it kind of like what Matthews was doing where I kind of shoot in that kind of stride position. That's actually how I used to shoot a lot. That was my main shot. When I actually played in Gold League last, that was my main shot. You remember that? I used to score goals from 5 feet across the red line because I would shoot it like that.
So music, you ever heard the saying music to my ears? You ever heard that? Something that you kind of like, that's music to my ears. So when you're telling me that you have these 2 different lower body formations or configurations that you do, like you're like, when I do a single leg shot, or I'm on my right foot, my right leg, inside leg when I shoot, and then I do that stride formation. That's music to my ears, because nowadays goalies are starting to line up inside the puck, not on the puck. So they're looking at your body the same way they're looking at the puck. So if you look two different ways, two different types of shots, then that's going to surprise them. But if you keep doing the same thing every time, that makes you predictable. So one time you go in, you take the stride shot, 2 feet around the ice. And the next time you go in, you take a single leg shot. And then maybe the third time you go in, you add a jump to one of them, a little jump. So you're messing.
Hit the puck.
Yeah, and then you impact it. Like you said, if you got the puck up in front of you and you're snapping it off without a loaded stick, that's really good. You know, if you want, I could share my screen and show you a drill that could really, really, really help with that. But we can do. You want to see that now, or do you want to?
So part of the whole point of this is we got a lot of younger hockey players watching us to kind of educate them, and absolutely, if you have the time, Tim, we would absolutely love to share that.
Oh yeah. You know what? That's the reason for doing stuff here, guys. But if I lose you, I'll try and sign back in again.
We'll get you right back in. Our sound effects guy had some pretty good sound effects while you were gone. There we go.
Right.
We got your screen.
You can see my screen now?
Yep,
Yes.
absolutely. We got you in.
Okay, let's check this out here. Okay, so here's a drill.
There we go. We can hear it too. Perfect.
So here's a drill where you just said that when you are snapping it off and not loading it. So this was just before COVID shut things down, and a lot of players will contact me and say, okay, what can I work on, Turkey? Because, I got this facility, we're not open, but I can go off ice, blah, blah, blah. So in this case here, my suggestion to Gallagher was for him to put the puck in front of his toes, because he had the tendency to overload it before shooting out. Now, an overload for an NHL player is like, can you see my cursor here?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So an overload to an NHL player is having the puck go to his heels. So the puck would be kind of like at his heels here. And this is an isolated motion pattern drill, meaning you can't transfer your weight. You're just using your hands and arms because your feet are facing the target. So the other thing was to get his elbow elevated and get what I call white ice between the puck and his blade. So watch when he sets his stick down. See how he sets his stick down there, and there's space between the puck and the blade, and it's just going off the front of his foot there. And you can see, like, the one thing he's focusing on is getting that elbow away from his body. So whenever the elbow kind of goes into the body, everybody, that brings the hands in tighter. So when you elevate your elbow, it creates range of motion. But this is a great example of a few different things that everyone can look for who's on this actual podcast. Is he's not using the full range to shoot. He's just using a little bit of it.
He's getting pretty hard shots off doing it that way too.
Not gonna lie, I'd like to slow this down. Tim, you're gonna have to send me that so I can slow it down for you.
Yeah, for sure. No, and he's okay with sharing this kind of stuff for sure.
Well, I was going to slow it down for you, so that way when you show it, you can talk through it because of how quick he does it. We can.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah. No worries there. I can redo it again. But the other thing is this. I'm going to let it play through in real time for 2 or 3 of the shots, and what everyone can look for is after the shot's taken, he does a full extension, but he's so quick to retract his arm. His right arm is his power arm, creates power. So what happens is he pulls it back. He's pulling it back really quickly. Watch how that happens there. See how it's coming back again? He's just resetting to get to the next puck, guys. That's called a retraction. And so that's okay that it's swinging back like that, because he's getting a full extended locked out. And when I say lockout, that means your elbow's coming to a locked position when you're doing that. So the progression to that was now we want to use body formation. We want to get body formation in there. So here's what we did with the body formation. We did this. So now what we did was we turned them to the side. This is a week later, I think. And I said, okay, now, Brendan, now when you take your shot, right after the puck leaves, I want you to freeze. so that you can check your body position. So in this particular drill, now he's going to rotate and get into the stride formation and hold his position for about a full second before he gets ready for his next shot. So let's watch that for a bit. You see how he's pausing there after that shot? So he's pausing now. There's the stride formation. Now the stride formation, if I'm going to be critical to asking everyone that's out there doesn't get a chance to work with me, this stride formation, it sets your posture level, so how tall you are, because of that space in between your stride leg. And I call that, if you had a skating coach before, everybody, you know that's your glide foot. He'd be gliding on that left foot if he was taking a shot and holding that position.
Mhm.
So that sets your hips and shoulder position and your actual posture level. And that should be consistent. But if he wanted to or needed to, if I made a suggestion, Chaser, think of this. If I said, hey, Gally, you need to get a little bit lower. You know, there's a couple of things he can do. He can reach forward with that foot, bend that knee more, or he can create space between his stride leg, and his glide foot.
Yeah.
So the farther apart that he gets, the lower he goes. So those are a couple of examples of things that NHL players work on, you know, which is kind of important. Can you guys see me okay?
Absolutely.
yeah.
You got this down like a champ. I mean, you got out of that and right back to your show here. Like, perfect.
That COVID did that for me. So those little examples there to everyone that's out there, those drills, one of the things, and I don't mean to talk your ears off, Chaser, but one of the things is,
perfect.
you know, it's important that if you're going to put the work in, I think that I've got this reputation at the NHL level of being, a fun guy. I'm a fun guy. Everyone knows that. When I show up, and shooting is fun. When a skating coach walks in, it's like, oh man. But to me, if you're not enhancing your skating, then you're not going to enhance your shot. And if you enhance your skating without a shooting coach, it's going to skating improvement naturally enhances puck skills.
Mhm.
So it's important that everyone knows out there who's listening that we can also expect you to improve all aspects of skills. So with that being said, I think it's important that you guys understand with these drills that you're doing, they're basic fundamental. And that's what I'm known for at the NHL level, is not coming in trying to reinvent things, but just slowing things down to a control speed and elevating them to game speed and overspeed once the motion pattern has been consistent and comfortable to each player. So that's why you got to change things in small increments, guys.
So hearing you talk about this and kind of where we're geared towards with this podcast, I got to ask, you coach youth hockey, you coach little kids, you coach all the way up to the pros in the NHL and a lot of them. What is the difference that you see between the younger kids and the pros in what you're teaching them?
So one of them that comes to mind is, I got a couple of things to answer that question, Clarky. One is when I'm delivering a message. So let's say I got a 6-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 26-year-old. So we got a beginner, we got a AA teenager, and then we got an NHL pro. And each of them need to work on speeding up their release. So the way I would talk to the 6-year-old is way different than I talk to the 16-year-old versus I talk to the NHL player. But the message is still the same. I'm getting the same messages out. Sometimes I won't even change my delivery because a 6-year-old kid has the same mentality as a 16-year-old kid who has the same receiving of delivery as a 26-year-old NHL pro.
Right.
Maybe they like to, it just depends on, so that's all customized. But the difference is the NHL pro can do it much, much quicker with more strength, power, and conviction than the 6-year-old can. So I'm just watching kind of like surgically how long it takes to do something. And I add challenges into it. You know, it's like, hey, if you can move your hands a lot faster, the puck's going to move faster. Or if you can get your toilet down, your butt down a little bit more, it's going to add more power. You know, little things like that. So, and usually what happens is they apply the stuff. They apply it because it's a simple modification and not a big change. And then when they know and feel there's a positive result out of it, they'll do it more. but it's got to be basic. It can't be too difficult. You can't. And the other thing is this, and this is a good example with Gallagher. Like when remember I said he was overloading the puck.
Yeah.
So when he's overloading the puck, what happens is his top hand would go across his body because the puck's going a little bit behind to his heels. So I'm like, Gally, can you move the puck up to your heels? Like just move it up a little bit. He's like, no, I can't. Can't do it. What do you mean you can't do it? Move the damn puck up, kid. Like he's like, Turkey, I need that's where the puck needs to be. I'm like, okay. Then Gally, can you move your hand over in front of your body? He's like, that's easy. So what's connected to his hand? The puck. So he learned by the upper body instead of the lower body. Where another player might say, I can't move my hand, but I can adjust the puck for you. And because it's connected, everything's connected, it's just like a modification where they feel like, okay, if he needs to move my hand, then I can, hey, that just changed the puck position. Just by moving my hand, that's easy. And some players, they just can't recognize how that change or that modification needs to take place unless you have an option to give them.
That's crazy. So working with 4 different NHL teams, are you constantly traveling to all these different cities, or what does that look like in the coaching world from your perspective?
Like when there's a normalcy, I think I'm in the air more than I'm on the ground. But yeah, so to be able to, I do travel a lot. There's a lot of cultures, but one of the things that I constantly, it's a mantra. So you know what a mantra is, right? Chaser? You know what a mantra is?
Just be honest here.
Nah.
I'll give you 30 seconds to look it up on your phone. But I'm kidding.
Oh,
So a mantra is something, it's like a culture. It's a habitual thing that you believe in as an individual, something that you want to do every day. You wake up every day, and when you look after your mantra, whether it's you get up and go to the washroom, there's a routine of things, and you get this done because it's your culture, an individual type of thing that you believe in. One of my mantras is when I travel, to always have an open mind, and I put a sign no matter where I am, a hotel, no matter where I'm staying, what I'm doing, whether it's vacation or non-work or work-related, I put a little note at the exit of wherever I leave, where I'm staying, wherever I put my head on the pillow, and it says, what are you going to learn today and from who? So if I have that mindset of always learning something new or trying to every day, then I could pass on any knowledge that I learn to people like you and everyone that's listening out there. So it's important to me to try to improve no matter how much I travel or where I'm traveling to, but it's also important to me to be able to have an open mind when like you've heard that saying, listen more, speak less, speak when you're spoken to, stuff like that. And that's what I like, that type of learning process because it allows me to learn things every day, like sharing my screen with this new platform I'm on, like I'm going to call Guinness because it's a world record, like I don't think I've learned something that fast before in my life. You know what I mean? And that would be an example of anything, whether it's work related or not.
That's awesome. You make it down to Phoenix much?
Well, I have since it's been a year and a half since the COVID started, but then there's big changes going on down there. It's like, oh boy, I can't believe, all the management team that's been changed over and everything that's going on there. But hopefully once the dust settles, I'll be back in there soon because I got a couple of really good friends who are players there. Chick is one of my buddies, Jacob Chikrin. Jacob Chick, he's one of my buddies on there.
Team.
What's that?
I have him on my fantasy team.
Yeah, he's producing. He's got a record the other night. You know that? He scored 3 goals as a defenseman, and they're the only 3 goals that a defenseman scored for the team, and one of them was an overtime winner.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, and Chaser, the 3 goals that he scored, it's sick. The 3 goals that he scored are all different formations. So he had a single leg release. You got to check it all. You know what? I can send you. I got a post. He sent me the stuff from the video coach. I get stuff from the team.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a single leg goal. He had a stride shot goal. Then he had because he's a D-man, he had a drag and release on the blue line for the OT winner. And it's really cool that he applied all those different formations.
That's a very well versed player right there. If you can pull that off, especially all in one game.
Yeah, in the NHL level too. That's pretty cool.
That
Yeah,
is
it is.
crazy. Well, when you're down here, we're definitely gonna have to all meet up and maybe bring you into our studio one day. That'd be pretty awesome.
Oh man, I'd look forward to that, guys. That'd be awesome. To be able to see you guys work on the ice with you would be awesome.
That
Oh,
would
of
be
course.
sweet.
We
That
have
would
to
be
get the AC
incredible.
fixed before he comes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So we
we
just
do.
built this new room and we're
I've
still working
tried
out the
not
air
to do
conditioning.
it so many times.
Um,
It's terrible.
But you did say, I know.
Because typically I go like this. Oh, because I wear a hoodie in here a lot because it's a hockey podcast. So most people wear hoodies when they play hockey. So I always wear a hoodie. But today I had to wear a long sleeve shirt because I could not do the hoodie anymore, man. It's too hot in here.
You're getting warm. You're baking in there, guys.
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of time left here, and I know early in the beginning you mentioned you wanted to ask or talk about the Blade Tech blades a little bit, and we talked to we had an episode, I think it was episode 2, where we talked to the guys in charge, and I learned a lot. So if whatever you want to talk about with these Blade Tech blades, Chase can attest to wearing them.
Yeah. So you made a comment about, and then my question goes out to you, Chaser. Like, what? I'm not a skating guy, but I've worked with probably the top skating coaches, in my opinion, and I've never been wrong. I've worked with the top skating coaches all around the world, so I can't teach skating, but I know what they require. And a lot of the times it has to do with this glide thing about being efficient and how that works. So what did you notice? You said Will, you said that he noticed a difference in the actual blades when he was on the ice. And what was it that you noticed? Can you put it into words?
Yes. So one of the things that first definitely hit me pretty hard is this isn't like a skating thing, or well, actually, yeah, it is. But I'm sorry, sorry, he's laughing at me now, and
It's all right. Don't worry about it.
So it was definitely top end speed. Like I felt a lot faster in the agility aspect of it. Was definitely a very noticeable difference. I also, because of my injury, have a lot of joint stuff, or well, not a lot of my joints aren't as strong as they used to be, so they hurt a lot. And when I first put them on, my joints didn't hurt as bad because that flex in the blade was kind of taking all that pressure off of my joints and stuff. So it felt so much better when I first started skating with them.
Well, that's cool. Whenever something can be absorbed through, especially when you're putting pressurization somewhere. I don't know if that's a word, but when you're adding pressure to something, and if it feels good, then it's always going to be good, and that elevates confidence. That's cool. Then are they thicker? Are the blades thicker?
They're normal size. They're just so the main difference between them and normal skates is they have a little cutout, in a sense, like a little divot in the blade at the very front toe, and that causes the blade to flex up and down. So you get a lot more speed and stuff out of your stride, and you get a lot more out of your stride, and that's kind of what takes the pressure off your joints, because that kind of relieves some of the pressure off of everything.
Well, that's cool. So you can add more torque without any tightness. Yeah,
and you don't have to change your skating style at all. It's just the reflex of the blade and that little bit of give is almost like when Nike developed what were those fancy shoes with the air shocks in them or whatever.
Oh yeah, the pumps. Yeah.
It kind of took the same concept as the way I look at it into skating and developed that and put it into skating, but also they make their blades out of like a gunmetal material, and they gave them to some NHL players without telling the equipment managers. And the equipment managers are like, "How are you going so long without sharpening? Now you used to sharpen each intermission, and now you're going 2-3 games without." So they're a little more durable. But what I really like is the customization. Chase lost his grandmother right before his breaking his leg last year, and he was able to get customized skate blades with some inscriptions for her in there and stuff. And it's really neat, the stuff they have.
So you can customize it too. That's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, color and everything. You can put emblems. So my grandma died August 1st, and I broke my leg August 4th. So it was kind of very, very close in between. And I have her name on the blades, and she was Irish. Her dad moved here when she before she was born to the United States, and so she was very Irish. And I have a 4-leaf clover on my skates for her as well.
Right on, man. That's great. That just tells me that there's another angel up there looking over us, guys.
Oh, absolutely.
And, yeah, for sure. So, man, condolences out to to that. But you know what? But to me, I don't know, man. If I'm going to get all touchy feely here, so I talk to someone every day, thanking them for what we have, and I know for a fact that she's in a place waiting for you guys, and she's probably got a dinner ready when you get there, and no matter how long ago that is. So, but awesome, that's really good.
Absolutely. But yeah, episode 2, we talk with Blade Tech, and they're I learned so much from them, and it's crazy, just like. And I'm starting to realize after doing this podcast, there are so many different aspects to being a good hockey player. I mean, the shooting and passing expert, and how you deliver it off the stick, to chase skates with Boris. I don't know if you know Boris. I always say it wrong, Dorsenko, but
Boris
he was Austin
Dorsenko.
Matthews' coach growing up.
Yeah. He was in Canada here for a while. I know Boris.
Yeah, chase
In
skates.
Switzerland.
Yeah, either they're somewhere over in up there by Russia. He
Yeah.
the thick Russian type accent, but he focuses specifically just on your skating and stuff, and to have that A-class hockey player, you have to put all these pieces together, and it's just crazy how it all comes together.
Yeah. Once it's funny because to me, once an athlete gets on a progressional path and everything that works for them, and you can see the progressions in the improvements of the individual athlete. And then sometimes what happens is when that player gets a prospected status, or they know that there's elite that's going in with their particular name, then they take a step out of that path, and then all of a sudden they start to revert, or they regress a little bit. When you stay on that particular path that's been treating you so well, that accelerates your improvement or your confidence or where you're trying to get to. And part of my job for all the young players out there that are trying to live out their dreams, part of my job is to try and keep them on that path and get them as close to there as possible. I can't get someone, if you have someone you're training that says they can get you to the NHL, I give you permission to flip them the bird. No one can get you to the NHL other than you. And that's the thing, so I would highly recommend staying on that path, no matter where you get your information from, apply it the way you feel you need to, and then just keep on going. And if the door shuts, that's the reason why we have slap shots, to go through the doors and keep knocking them down. So, that's just a suggestion to all the young players out there. If you do not have the chance to live out your dreams and you don't get there, there's more than 40 pro leagues in the world that will pay you to play. So, you know what? So have an aspiration to turn pro, and then we're going to try and get you to the highest level of pro as possible. And if you do get the pro, then my job changes. Now I got to keep you there. Because everyone's trying to turn pro. So it's kind of like, hey, Chaser, you ever heard of Santa Claus?
Mm-hmm.
Santa Claus has a list, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what it's like in hockey. The hockey list to turning pro is longer than Santa's list. So we want to try and make sure that we keep you as nice as possible, no naughty shit, and then we get you going through so you get as close to being pro or turn pro if that's what you aspire to do. And that's what we're here to help you with.
Yeah.
You're speechless?
Yeah.
There's
This was a really, really fun podcast.
There we go. A little bit of crickets because you're speechless. Sorry, we're playing around with the new studio a little bit.
Why wouldn't we? That's for sure. That's good stuff, man. So you guys are in Arizona?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in Phoenix. Just a little bit outside of Phoenix.
Yeah, we live in Surprise, Arizona. I can't tell you how many people I say I live in Surprise, and they're like, "That's fake. You're kidding. No, I live in Surprise." I'm like, "Look it up. I live in Surprise." No, and then they figure it out, and they're like, "No, Google's lying to me." I'm like, "Bro, you're kidding."
Right on, man. Like, hey, man, I'm from Canada, and I even know about Surprise, but I've been down to Phoenix a few times. So, yeah, I went to the Scottsdale TPC. I got to hit the TPC one time in Scottsdale there. We had to.
Told you,
Clarky, we had to tee off at 11:45 in the morning.
I bet you were roasting.
Oh yeah, it was hot as FUCK. And
Yeah.
so here we are, but we didn't care because we were at the thing called the FATS kind of trade show. It's all about all hockey trainers and hockey equipment, and it was in Scottsdale. So we got the opportunity to go. It didn't cost us anything, which was even better. So 2 holes in, I got to change my shirt.
That sounds about right.
I was so, and
So
I'm
I
like,
feel right now, I'm gonna have to get a new shirt and wash this one the second I get home. It's so hot.
holy smokes, you'll be fine. So, so we get to the halfway point, and I'm like, okay, I gotta drop the Browns off at the Super Bowl. So I go into the clubhouse, and I go into the washroom, right, and I'm on the crapper, and I get my phone up, and I phone one of my best buddies. He's like a super fan, a super hockey fan. You know, he's kind of hangs with me. He just couldn't come to this particular thing, and I'm like, guess where I am? He goes, where are you? I go, I'm taking a crap on the same toilet as Tiger Woods. And, so I was like, I didn't hit a good round of golf, but it was great just to be able to be on, like, the friggin' fairways were like greens, and it was just so beautiful. Rabbits were jumping around everywhere, and it was just unbelievable. What a time we had. So I do have to get back down there and visit you guys in person, so you guys can take me out for a Mexican meal or something.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, anytime.
Oh,
Let us know when you're in town.
we're gonna have to change that to Italian or something, man.
You're fine.
All right, man. I'm all over pasta. I don't care. Pasta, chunk of beef. We can go to a steakhouse. I don't care. But we'll figure it out for sure. If you eat meat, we can do that. Otherwise, we'll do.
No real hockey player doesn't eat meat.
We have a new boat on order down at the lake, so we can go out and eat on the boat and have it delivered right out from the restaurant to the boat.
Oh, right on. I'm in.
Definitely.
Okay, yeah. So we're coming to around that time. We'll throw you back down into the green room, say bye to our viewers, and then talk a little bit right after.
And here we are again.
Sounds good, man.
We told you not to do.
I'm quitting the podcast.
The exact thing we told you not to do.
We're trying to
He's a rookie. The guy's. It's all right. He's a rookie. He gets initiated after this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you're getting socks and soap. That's what we're doing.
So real
Please
quick
don't.
before we go, Tim, anything you want to say to everybody, Tim?
You know what? I'd suggest taking an eyebrow because they take so long to grow. But no, I just wanted to say, you know what? Like, I was looking forward to talking with you guys, and now I can't be more excited to see how this podcast turns out. And the one thing is, I can't thank you enough for having me on, just to talk shop and give as much information as possible based on this unscripted interview. And I'm more than thankful that you guys had me on here, and I hope that we can maybe do it again in the future and have a theme there. Chloe, thank you for tuning in, girl. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So,
Tim, you're welcome on the show anytime. This has been a blast. I love the unscriptedness, like you were saying. It's just it's so relaxed and just talk hockey. I mean, there's so much.
You may
more to
love
talk
the
about.
unscriptedness, but do you think I do? I mean, I suck at this
Stop moving the
podcast.
mic. It's going.
hey, Chaser, how do you get good at something?
You keep practicing.
That's right. So you'll be fine.
What?
You'll be fine. Just keep practicing.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm deaf.
It's the hair. It's muffling his ears.
Get the crow shit out of your ears.
All right, Coach. Well, we'll throw you back down, and we'll come back on here in a second. All right.
Perfect. See you, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Always. Yeah. There we go. All right. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Coach Tim Turk, man, that was a lot of fun. I love that guy. That was incredible. He's got a good sense of humor, and
Yeah, I think that was a very fun one. I learned a lot. I especially learned that we're taking a trip out to Scottsdale to go see that new tree stick.
tree stick. What?
I said true. Don't you try and bounce that.
True
I heard
stick. All
tree.
right,
That's
that's
fine.
Don't you guys try and say that.
I
Don't do that to
heard-
me. Don't do that to
Tree
me.
stick.
So-
Y'all are not doing that to me.
So we can no longer name you Chase. You are now Chaser.
Chaser, absolutely. That is now your name.
No
Chaser.
matter where we post anything now, it is Chaser. It sucks for you, man. You're welcome. So best part, guys, it's been extremely fun here. Again, we have to teach Chase how to end a podcast.
You remember what he told me?
No,
You know.
I'm old. I forget.
It's
No.
okay to flip a bird.
Yeah, do that to the ref on the ice. See how well that works out for you.
Go ahead.
Chase.
See what your mother does to you.
Yeah, see what.
Oh,
Mom
yeah,
does to you.
I
Mom's
will
gonna
never do
murder
that on a
you.
pod.
Yeah.
I'll do that after.
podcast we had problems with that got deleted.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun. Well, check us out, guys. You can catch up streaming live on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook when we're live, and then you can also catch our episodes after on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts at. In fact, we just learned yesterday that we've only been on Apple Podcasts for a week, and we broke the top 100. I think we're at like 96 yesterday. So help us grow. Give us some reviews. Give us some likes, and we'll keep passing the knowledge on to you guys. But appreciate everybody coming out. Today's been awesome.
Yeah, I
Chase
had
and
so much
Austin.
fun. Yeah.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.